Welcome to the Dad's Life Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Flac 2.0. In the studio with me via satellite, we have Sensei Jon.
Back from Vegas.
Right there he
Oh,
is.
back from Vegas, ready to do this thing live.
Okay. And
Here I am.
right, we have a special guest today. Again, I don't want to say special guest. We got a new person coming to the, a new host coming to the podcast, but he is a special guest to me. We have NjordGod in the studio as well, and he is located that way. I'm trying to point.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
And so, if you don't know who NjordGod is, if you've seen other projects I've worked on, we worked on projects together. He's a founding member of the Shadow Pack gaming community I was a part of for the last 3 years. And Shadow Pack West, which you see right here in this little shirt we got right here, it is an offshoot of the Shadow Pack gaming community. If you guys are watching the video, you'll see that his hoodie is the OG Shadow Pack gaming hoodie. And welcome to the show. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay.
I must say, this is actually quite poetic, just real quick, because we're talking about how SPG was there and SPW is an offshoot. The reason why I shut down SPG is because dad life got in the way. So, par for the course, like, this is perfect.
Right. Okay. So if it feels like we're kind of rushing through a couple things, we actually are. He talks about par for the course. We had audio issues. We had been already recording for about 20 minutes before I actually saw we had an audio problem. And so if we're rushing through a couple things, it's because we're just kind of recapping what we kind of already talked about. So again, apologies for that, but we're going to make it up to you guys. So let's get on with the show. All right. So Sensei Jon, what's on our agenda for discussion today? Just go ahead and take it away.
Well, first things first, we got to do it right. Sensei Jon, you see it, the logo. Dad's Life Podcast. And for all you guys out there, that's how you spell my name on all my socials. Bada bing, bada boom. Anyway, so getting back to the topics, the first topic we're going to talk about is do you have self-care for yourself as a dad? We're going to discuss the importance of self-care and maintaining personal well-being as a dad, because we always need our own time and our own space to do what dads like to do.
Right.
We'll touch on that in a little bit. The next one we'll talk about is bonding with each child. Is it different? We'll give you some tips on how to maintain those bonding with your children. And we got more too, but I think that's going to take up a lot of the time, because I got some tips for y'all on maintaining that mental health and that well-being.
Okay. So before we get to our dad life, dad advice, we're going to talk a couple things first. In our last episode, we kind of talked about predictions for the conferences, the AFC, NFC conferences, and here we are after the Super Bowl. So let's kind of talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, kind of like what we did during the day, and kind of like what we thought about the game, because let's kind of pick up off there. So Sensei Jon, go ahead and take it away. What was your thoughts on the actual Super Bowl?
I thought they played both teams played a very good game. Giving shout out to the Chiefs, they did their thing. Mahomes is going to be one of those guys that we have to accept, what they call him, the Michael Jordan of football. He's going to be one of those guys that you're just going to have to be watch his greatness. Of course, I was rooting for the Niners with my wife because we were in Vegas. Okay. She loves the Niners, and it was her birthday. So I was like double dose of love and happiness for her if her team won. Of course, they lost. You know what I mean?
But did you get a Niners jersey?
Hell no, I ain't getting no Niners jersey. I ain't wearing nothing Niners. Well, I'll take that back. I want me some. I didn't wear no Niners gear, but I tried to match her vibe with her colors. You know what I mean?
Okay, I got you.
Me a nice little outfit. You know what I mean?
You pulled out the gold-plated shoes.
No. I had my shades on though. I had my gold-plated shades on though. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Okay.
But anyway, getting back to the game. some cool cool keys from the win for the Chiefs. With the loss to Greenlaw, that was a big blow for the Niners. The extra point and the extra point that was blocked. Also, them the punt that was hit off someone's foot, and the guy didn't fall off on it. Of course, in football, they are always taught to fall on the ball. And just again, Patrick Mahomes just willing his way, and all the pan shots to what's her name? Taylor Swift. I guess that did something for the game too. I was listening to a podcast myself, and they said the person that was at the game, he every time they panned to her, I mean, it was just like an uproar. You know what I mean? Everybody in the stadium was just so happy that she was there, I guess. But on another note, with all the Nickelodeons and all the Amazons and everybody's trying to make some money off of everything, that is going on with the Chiefs, with their relationship, and also the greatness of Patrick Mahomes. Did you guys hear about his daddy getting that DUI a week before the Super Bowl?
No.
No.
No. Okay. Yeah. So Patrick Mahomes' daddy ended up getting a DWI. That's, if I'm not mistaken, that's like his third one.
Oh wow.
Oh Jesus.
Since like 2008 or 2012, something like that. He also played he played baseball. He was a professional baseball player.
Have no clue. See, that's why you're the resident expert, because we don't know any of this stuff.
Yeah. So the week before the Super Bowl, he ended up getting the DWI, and I didn't really listen to the media days, but I'm sure the media, had their fun with asking Patrick, about the his dad and everything. But I'm sure, that had no, anything that it didn't have anything on him playing the game as a quarterback or whatever, because obviously they won. But yeah, that's a fun fact about Patrick Mahomes' daddy. Yeah, he a damn drunk, and he still like to drive when he drinking. I'm just saying, damn. Dude. Get somebody to drive you, dog.
Right. You should have some kind of money with your son's, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Go have him get you an Uber. You know what I'm saying?
The new Tom Brady.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what. But to cap it all off, good times, good game, and I enjoyed myself.
Okay, all right. You already got any thoughts on the game? What were you doing? What are your thoughts?
So I didn't do nothing. I haven't even watched the Super Bowl ads yet. Okay. I haven't even seen those yet.
Hey, you don't even call them commercials. You call them ads.
I mean, that's exactly what they are, right?
That's what they are.
Sorry, that Twitch life has played a little too long for me.
Right.
Nah, so my wife ended up going to like a Valentine's Day party for women only. So I kept the baby home. I get up early for work on Mondays. Well, actually every day of the week. But I didn't even watch the game. I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan, so I really didn't care, and I can't stand Taylor Swift, and that's all the Super Bowl was made about for Kansas City, unfortunately. Sorry, Patrick Mahomes, but let's be real. It was all about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I will say I'm going to add to the last episode's conspiracy theory crap. Okay. Did anyone see pictures of Taylor Swift meeting with the president of the NFL in that VIP box when Kansas City was losing in the first half?
No, I didn't see that.
You talking about Roger, the president of the NFL? Or Roger Goodell?
Someone high from the league, I know, was there. Wow. She was shaking hands and talking to him, and next thing you know, Kansas City's winning.
Oh wow.
Weird.
Hey,
but I actually, for all credit, from what I understand from this past season, Kansas City has definitely been a second half team all season long, right? So much like the Seattle Seahawks, when they went back to back to the Super Bowl, we were a second half team fourth quarter team, right? From what I understand, Kansas City's kind of been that way this entire season long. So it's kind of par for the course that they would come back and sweep it off of the dreaded 49ers because it's about time they lost. But that's all I got. I wasn't really too big into football this year.
Okay. All
Doesn't
right.
help when Seattle is not doing all that great. But hey,
Okay. So,
Sean, what about you?
as you know what, Njord, I thank you for asking. So that weekend, again, we actually did stay home. We actually, my wife cooked, appetizers and food, and hung around the house until we watched the game. I actually haven't seen the game, sat down and watched a football game in such a long time. I was really impressed by both teams. Again, watching the Super Bowl go into overtime, that I knew that the rules had changed. And it's funny because if the 49ers didn't, how did I know? That's a very interesting thing. But I did. So I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be different. And then they explained the rules before the coin toss. And he still decided that they wanted to receive. And I think from a tactical standpoint or, game standpoint, it's better to obviously defend in that case because you get to see you get to gather more information about what you're going up against versus what the outcome was in the Super Bowl. I was wrong on both my predictions. I thought the Ravens were going to win. I thought Detroit was going to win. And I was wrong on both counts on there. I was excited for the 49ers. My wife is a 49er fan as well. So she was excited getting into the game. And in the end, again, she's not a major, right? But, if she's rooting for a team, that's who she's rooting for. And so it was exciting to kind of see that and kind of sit down and watch something with her because we haven't had a lot of time to do that recently. So that was really nice. But again, congratulations to both teams. I was wrong on both counts, so don't count on me on any kind of betting or anything like that. I'm gonna be wrong most of the time. But yeah, that's my take on the Super Bowl. So
Now I will say, my entire mom's side of the family, which is the side that lives near me, they're all 49ers fans. And I'm talking diehard. So like my stepdad grew up in the Bay Area, right? My grandmother on that side lives in Alameda, so like right out there with you all.
right. Oh yeah.
I'm the only one in my pocket that's a Seattle fan.
What?
So,
Still West Coast, baby.
yes. Now, the one last thing I want to touch on the whole football aspect before we move on is I definitely want to send thoughts and prayers to those in Kansas City with that shooting that took place during y'all's parade. That is horrible, absolutely horrible, and I'm sorry that all happened.
Yeah, agreed with that. But unfortunately, you said you don't like Taylor Swift, but she did end up donating $100,000 to the GoFundMe of the lady that got killed.
He did.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
she's I personally just can't stand her music. I can't.
I don't
do
listen
I
to
can't
her
even
either.
name one song.
Yeah, and you know what? My wife talked about that because she told me that, and I was like, oh, okay. And we don't listen to her music. We don't, it's not what. But she's a good person, like business.
Yeah, no,
and
right.
stuff like that. So when she said, so I just want to throw that out there. So I don't.
Let's be real. When they're making full on movies of your tour, right?
Yeah.
You've made it big. You're successful. You know what you're doing. Okay,
Right.
let's
Right.
be real there for a second. Okay,
Right.
they're doing something right.
Right. Okay, so before we transition over, because we got to get down to the dad advice section of this,
Let's go.
what is in your cup?
Oh,
Mr. Sensei.
I'm glad you asked, Sean.
Okay.
Well, today we've got a nice mixture of tequila and limeade. It's the best thing to quench your thirst when you're thirsty for a man. I got this straight from TJ's. Not my tequila. My tequila is Casamigos for sure. But the limeade, I was like, ooh, this would go perfect with my drink. It's like limeade and lemonade mixed together. Perfect. No sugar, not too sugary or whatever. I was drinking it last night in my little cup. Put a little water in it. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna go crazy in the drink.
Okay.
And today, and what we got there, boy.
Njord, what's in your cup?
Whiskey stones. Nah, so I was drinking on Del Winnie's Scotch, and of course this is the Game of Thrones edition. This is the
Oh
Stark bottle.
wow.
So
Okay.
And I'm into that for sure. Oh yeah.
See, look at that. Did you mute your mic? We can't hear you. Oh, nope. Can you hear him, Sensei John?
Hmm.
Okay. 1 second while we take care of this technical difficulty. Oh, I heard something. Oh,
No. Let's get it. Let's get it going.
okay. So we'll
Yeah.
continue.
What's in? Yeah. What's in your cup?
Okay. In my cup, you might be a little disappointed. I am
Or in your
drinking.
jug?
Right. I got a jug full of water that has like a sugar-free lemonade powder in it. So that's what I've been drinking on. Nothing exciting, but you know what? For the next episode, I'll definitely have something a little bit more exciting.
What, some Kool-Aid?
Yeah.
I gonna bring some Kool-Aid. Hey,
Right.
you been on your fitness, dog? You been trying to
You know,
do your
no,
walks and
yeah,
stuff?
no. You know what? I ain't gonna lie to you. As Njord's like dealing with this audio issue.
oh, I'm back.
Oh, you're good.
Oh, he's back.
Okay, there we go. I'm back, baby. Okay, to answer your question,
Yeah.
nah, you know what? And I'm very disappointed in myself because I had to teach a class today, and I stood the whole 8 hours talking,
Oh, wow.
and I'm tired. I am
Yeah.
just by standing all day and talking. So no, I need to get on my fitness. My back hurt, my shoulder hurt, my elbow hurt, my legs hurt, and I shouldn't be that way. I'm 42 years young, so I shouldn't. So I got to get back on that. So.
Motherfucker,
walking
I'm
is-
33 years old.
33. Oh boy. God damn.
Dude, I'm an old 33 though. I've had 3 shoulder surgeries, 2 back surgeries. Like I'm
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you. I got you. Yeah. I'm 38. Hey, I'm 38, still straight. You know what I mean? Nah, I need to get up. I was doing some walking with my wife this week, and
Right.
after we got back, and it just felt really good. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know what I mean? Just to be able to do that, because with this hectic stuff, hectic things, the kids, paying bills, going to work. I'm like you, Norge. I wake up every day at 2. I wake up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and got to take my butt to work. So, a lot of the fitness stuff that I used to do or whatever ain't what it used to be.
It ain't
especially
fitnessing.
pre-COVID. No, it ain't fitnessing. Especially pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, I was on point. I was swole. I was, after COVID hit, man, I didn't realize how long we was gonna be inside. I should have kept doing something, but I'm getting back there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that leads us into our first thing. Unless anybody else got anything to say.
No, but you know what? That was damn near a professional transition you just did.
That it was.
I'm gonna go ahead and just give you a little kudos on that. Please continue,
Oh,
Sensei
right
John.
Right on. Is, do you have self-care? And what I was talking about fitness, that's self-care for us dads, or just anyone, period. But especially as dads, because we gain it in all the wrong places. You know what I mean? I know I do. Yeah, it go right there too. You know what I mean? That's why I try to limit my alcohol intake as well, or drinking. But and pick up on the water or whatever. But self care. What is self care to you? Me. I mean, I do a lot of. My wife has helped me with this too, because going to get massages, periodically in my life has helped me maintain like a nice, what I want to say, like something that it helps me stay in tune with my body. I know when I'm feeling an ache or pain, I know I can go get a massage or whatever. And where I can go get my massage. Yeah, they're a little expensive sometimes, but I know where I can go get that ache and pain, you know what I mean, knocked out of my back or out of my shoulders. With the work that I do, I'm pulling myself up, you know, constantly, or, you know, sitting down too long or whatever. I have to maintain some kind of fitness because, or else I've noticed like my back will start hurting, or like the side of my neck. You know what I mean? When I'm not doing when I be in the gym and doing the raises and stuff, like sitting down too long just do something to you. You know what I mean? I know we all.
I'm sitting here like, why is my shoulder starting to hurt? Stop, Sensei Jon.
Hey, next time, hey, I'm gonna tell you, you keep fucking with me, we all gonna be on what they call them, walking desks. We gonna have walking desks. We gonna be doing the podcast walking at the same time. Yeah.
Good luck.
Okay.
But yeah, self-care, maintaining well-being. I mean, mental health for men is very important. I do weekly see a therapist. Is For me, it helps, in maintaining my marriage, my fatherhood with my kids. I mean, it's helped me tremendously with my kids. I use being a young parent and having a kid so young. You know what I mean? It really like I only knew what I saw from my parents, you know what I mean? So in a way I was kind of like reflecting them onto him, you know what I mean? But as I got older, I realized, hey, I don't have to do certain things that my parents did, which, it worked for them because this is who I am. You know what I mean? I didn't have to follow the same trend, but that's kind of like all I knew. You know what I mean? So I love them dearly for raising me the way they did, and I've learned how to do something a little different. You know what I mean with my kids, and therapy has really helped me with that too. So I mean, I can go down a list of stuff that I get my hands and feet done. You know what I mean? Go to the nail shop, get my hands and feet done, get my feet rubbed, get my hands rubbed. You know what I mean? That's personal care to me. Um, Taking time out for myself, away from my family. Once a week, me and my wife have this thing to where we go out, and she wherever she want to go. She go to her girlfriend house, or she plans something for them to do, or they plan something. I'll go work on my old school sometimes. Because it's still in the shop, and I work with the guy that's helping me rebuild it. This podcast is helping me with my well-being, and just helping me clear my thoughts of the weekly stuff. I get to share with the audience. Let me see. I mean, I done did mud baths. I don't know if y'all ever did those. Man, I'm gonna tell you, that take you to a whole different level right there, boy. One of my favorite things to do though is wine tasting. I'm gonna tell you, like every year for my birthday, my wife asked me, man, I want to go wine tasting. You know what I mean? It helps clear like not only my palate, you know what I mean, from all the tequila I done drank all the year, but so I get a different taste, and I love wine too, though. But just spending time with her, and doing something that we both love to do. That's mental health for me. You know what I mean? Even though she's with me, I'm still getting that attention that I need. You know what I mean? And the love that I need. I mean, it from the massages just to going out. I mean, mental health for us and just the well-being for us, you know what I mean? And also, at time we need alone with our wives too. That's big, for us as men too, as you will know. It's so funny because I'm gonna bring this last one thing up and I'm gonna pass the buck. I was watching this Instagram and I gotta send it to you. But these African dudes was talking, right? And he said that men need to have sex 21 times in a month. It helped keep the prostate down. It helped, all the stuff. And I'm sitting here looking like, we can only be wishful and hopeful. And so, hey, he had me fun. And I'm just, this is just what he said. And it was so funny because, and I'm not laughing, and women, please don't hang me for this. But he said, and if your wife won't do it, then I always suggest for my clients to get a side chick so they can have that. I was like, first of all, you started off wrong with 21 times. I mean, that don't leave no room for nobody to do nothing. You know what I mean? All we doing is, but I just thought that was funny. You know what I mean? That's just my sense of humor, laughing. Of course, I did not send that to my wife.
Oh,
if she
nah,
listening,
no.
I did not. I sent it to a couple of fellas that thought they would get a good laugh out of it, because we all know that ain't happening. You know what I mean? It's too busy around here. What we gonna be doing? But yeah.
All right. So NjordGod, you heard the question. Self-care. What do you do for yourself for self-care?
Well, so one of the big things that that I love about this question, right? The leading suicide rate happens in men.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Men hold the leading gender in suicide rate. So mental health care for men is a big deal. But as both of you guys know, our generation, I mean, I know we're not too far apart from all of each other. We were told to toughen up, keep your stiff upper lip, bury all the bullshit, and keep trucking on. Right? But sometimes we need help. Okay? Not more than sometimes. We can't bear everything.
Right.
And I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. Come this past July, I was in a pretty dark place. Not in a self-harm type of dark place, but I was in a pretty dark place. I was feeling overloaded with too much stuff going on. In one industry, I had just moved to another place again, trying to find my footing here in Little Rock, Arkansas, not really knowing anybody. Didn't have any friends to hang out with. I mean, my life revolved around wake up, go to work, come home, be a dad, eat, sleep, repeat. That's my life 24. Oh, and then let's try to sprinkle in running an organization as well on top of that.
Right.
I did not have a healthy approach, period. I was literally just trying to keep that stiff upper lip and keep moving, and I'm telling you guys, it does not work. Something's going to give. And if you don't let yourself be the one to give to go get help, some bad things will happen. I promise you. So I'll go through the list of some of the things that I'm doing. Sensei Jon, I love the fact that you brought up that you go see a therapist once a week, because back before Christmas, I started seeing one as well. Okay.
Right on, bro.
One of the best things ever. I actually got my wife into going to see the same therapist as well individually, and we've started here recently going together. So it's one of those things that not only could I work on myself as an individual, and I can continue to do so, she's getting the same kind of mental health care that she needs as a effective mother. But then we're also doing the very important step, and we're committing to our marriage and our relationship by going together as well, to make ourselves stronger. Let's see, what's next? Man, you brought up getting your feet done. Bro, I live in work boots 24/7, and on top of that, I work with water. I'm a water distribution foreman for a water department out here. I've been doing this for about 15 years, so I'm telling you, my shit is soggy. Right? I got them calluses built up like nobody's business. I could walk over hot coal, okay, and be perfectly fine. I started going to get my feet done with my wife, and they pull out the damn cheese grater to get my heels, and my wife's like, "Whoa, what is going on?" And I'm like,
"Hey, that motherfucker be me."
But guess what? It's relaxing, right?
Yes.
It makes it to where I can get into bed, I can relax. I don't go as far as getting my hands done just because I work with them in water, in dirt, in mud too much. It's like, I don't want to pay that kind of money for that. Let's see, video games. They're a big escape for me.
Yeah.
They have been for a long period of time in my life. I know I didn't get to catch up on the whole who our fathers were and all of that, but my dad used to work for Microsoft in the Xbox Live division. So like I grew up with video games. Okay.
That's dope.
So it was one. In fact, actually, my PC that I'm using right now was a gift from my dad for my birthday one year because he knew I was wanting to get into this. That was my escape for a long time. Now, I do want to put this caveat out there to all you dads who take a hobby and you're like, hey, I want to make money doing it. Be careful what you wish for. Don't turn a hobby into a job because then it doesn't become that escape that you're looking for as much anymore. Right. Okay? Don't make it to where like, hey, I'm gonna go all in on this and turn it into work. No, keep it a hobby. Make that still your safe place to go to escape from reality every now and again because I'm telling you, your kids need that. Okay? Your kids need you to be able to refresh. And then I love massages. I know we were talking about earlier, you know. I've had 3 shoulder surgeries and 2 back surgeries, so I live in a constant state of pain. I played a little too hard when I was younger. Too many hard sports. But probably my favorite self-care that most men probably skimp on that do grow a beard is I love going to get my hair cut. Okay. Yeah. Now I'm talking about like full blown. I'll show it here for those of you guys who are watching the YouTube, right? I get the full blown fade that goes all the way up. I'm about a week and a half overdue. This next Friday is my next haircut day. But I get the full-blown, like, beard care. I get the straight razor shaves. And there's nothing that compares to a good old-fashioned straight razor shave barbershop. I mean, nothing touches it. It really doesn't. But that's really like my mental health, and I do want to stress again, don't be too prideful to look into it. I mean, it's important. I'm sorry, but no man is strong enough to go through this world alone without any kind of help. So do yourself a favor.
Yeah, I want to touch on a couple.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, you said a couple of things because I agree with you. Definitely. So me and my wife are going to the same therapist as well, and we started off as a couple because we were, trying to grow that bond back together, and now we go separately, and we still come back as a couple to sit there and chat, with him, just to go, get a refresh sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
That and another one. I forgot. Yeah, going to get that haircut is very important, man. Barbershop talk,
unpaid therapists, man.
Yeah. There you go, man. I was just there with my son the other day, I've been going to the same barber since I was like 3 or 4 years old.
Damn.
And so his dad used to cut me, and now his son cut me, and me and him are like, that's my brother. That's like my other brother from another mother, and he cut my oldest son who's 19, and he's cutting my youngest son. So
I was kind of in disarray again. So like, for those of you guys that don't know, we all from Cali in this group. Okay, I just don't live there anymore. All right. I moved out of there in 2017. I wasn't really growing out my beard back then, but when I moved to Tennessee, I started growing out my beard. Hey, I had to look the part living in the mountains. Okay, like I just had to. Okay, I had to look like I was running some shine back and forth somewhere. But I found this dude. He was a veteran, He is a veteran, not was. He is a veteran. Complete 100% disability. His wife, complete 100% disability through the VA, all of that. He used to own a barbershop in Louisiana, in New Orleans, right? Like, this dude is legit. He's like, but I rolled up. We were fixing a water leak in his front yard, right? And he started handing out cards. I'm like, hey, dude, what's your price? He goes, I don't have a price, man. You just pay what you think I'm worth. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, I don't do this for the money. I do it because I love doing it, right? And this guy is freaking amazing. I used to pay him in eggs because we had chickens when we lived in Tennessee. I would pay him in homegrown eggs for haircuts, full on straight razor shaves, the works,
with a basket,
right? Hell yeah! And then like my world got sent upside down when I moved here to Arkansas because now I didn't have a damn barber. So now the hard part is finding a new barber that you actually trust to touch your shit, because it's like, a dude's haircut is everything.
Right.
It really is.
Right.
So, all right, Sean, my man, let's hear a little bit of your mental health.
Okay. Obviously, and I totally agree with the whole mental health thing. The main thing would be not to be too proud to acknowledge that, right? So what do? I remember when I was in the training program for the position I have now at the job. It was very stressful for me, and so what I did, and this is over 10 years ago now, is I started a YouTube page. For me, we haven't really talked about the dad life thing and how this kind of goes into this. As dads, and you guys could agree with me or not, there's a lot of things that when you have kids, you put a lot of the things that you want to do or you wanted to do on the back burner. And so, when I had my son, I was 23, and I wanted to go to film school. I had cards made out. I was a photographer. I was like doing all these different little projects with underground rappers and stuff like that, and different artists that just wanted some photography done. And I put aspiring film student was on my business card. And so when I give that out, and I was going to college. I was going to Laney, which is in Oakland. And I was taking classes there, and I was like, okay, and then I'm going to eventually want to go to film school. And when I had my son, I had to put all that on the back burner. So I didn't apply for film school. I dropped out of college, had to get a job, and just kind of do what dads do, right? And I kept telling myself, because I write, I'm a writer as well, so like I'll get caught up in writing stuff. And what ended up happening was all that stuff kind of went away, right? Had my kid, had all that stuff went away, and I'm old. Actually, I'm the oldest out of all of us here. So
yeah, you are OG, triple OG. That's right.
So as I got older, I was like, man, I don't have a lot of time left, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we hope that I'm here for another 20, 30, whatever years, but the Lord will take me when it's my time. But I didn't want to feel regret. So I always told myself, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And Njord's heard this story before. But basically, to relieve the stress and healthcare and, all this stuff, like I was going through this very stressful time at work, and, we're trying to have a kid, and, we're dealing with infertility for 4 years. So it was a very stressful time for me. And so what I did was I started a YouTube channel. And going back and being able to say I'm producing something, that's my self-care. Like I wanted to do something. I wanted to reach this goal. I'm realistic though. I can't. It's unless I hit the lotto, I still have to work and provide for my family and my kids. So I'll do even if I'm moving a little bit. Even if I'm just moving incrementally toward that goal of having something on the silver screen, or like I said, taking a podcast, producing it and getting it syndicated, right? Just something that it's something that I'm producing to share that I really enjoy doing. Like I said, Sensei Jon, you're getting new into the game, into the community, but in order to tell you, the last 3 years we've met so many amazing people in the journeys that we've taken doing these things.
100%. Absolutely.
So my self-care is me feeling accomplished in a goal I wanted to achieve. I will 100% agree with everything, like you guys said. The haircut, the way you look, you know what I'm saying? Looking all nice and tight, getting your
Fresh
feet.
to death.
You're right. Getting your feet done. I go, me and the wife, when we can, we do that. But I have learned that as I'm getting older, I realize I have more years behind me than in front of me. And I realize that I do need to start taking care of myself, not only to prolong that, right? Hopefully stay around longer because I am dealing with my mental health. I am acknowledging that I wanted more for myself, and for me mentally, that's what that is. So this is what I do. I do exactly what we're doing right now. And I'm so excited that I met both of you guys and we're able to come together. And both of you guys are super excited, which even pumps me up even more to do this. Right. So I'm super excited about continuing this journey with you guys. It does help me with my self-care. It helps me with my sense of accomplishment of doing these types of things. Again, all the things you talked about, feeling good about yourself, doing the pedicures. I don't do a manicure. But I don't mind being alone. Like I could sit and be in a place by myself and just be okay in that space. And I realize that, and I do take time for that. Kind of touching on the therapy thing, we tried it. It kind of didn't work for us. For whatever reason, we just didn't see the value in it. I'm not saying that there isn't any other value in it, but yeah. So when it comes to stuff like that, I think healthcare or self-care is major. Besides doing this stuff, I do martial arts. So like, like I could grab a screamer stick like right here. It's like literally all my gear's like sitting right here. I have more gear sitting over there. So punching a bag, getting the aggression out like that. I do that as well. So right.
Man, so that was another thing. I didn't realize that we all had that. So I did about 8 years of Taekwondo, right? And then I wrestled. Okay, and then I know Sensei Jon. I know you said you started at 9 years old. Right?
Yeah,
I did my homework before coming on here. I listened.
Yeah.
Okay,
You did your homework. Yeah. Yeah. I did Kaji Kimbo.
Okay. One of my like physical activity that I love to do outside of like sitting down creating content, right? Because Sean, when you and I talked, sorry, you brought some other things to my mind.
I know, right?
Getting out of streaming sucked for me, right? Like I don't enjoy the fact that I don't get to sit down and broadcast and do all that. But again, so I am the youngest dad on this podcast. I'm also the newest dad on this podcast. I've got a little 2-year-old girl. Okay. And one of the things that I have quickly found out, and Sean, you actually did 2 years ago, you had the conversation with me about like, are you sure you want to do this? Because you're about to be a dad, and you're gonna find you're not gonna have time for this. I'm like, no, I'll be good. I've already talked it over with the wife. I'll be good. We can run this thing. SPG for life, yo. We're gonna run these wheels off the train, okay? And lo and behold, 2 years later, I'm like, I don't have the time. I don't have the time.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't have the time to sit here and stream. I don't have the time to network. I don't have the time to actually plan out my broadcast and put out a consistent schedule of content for myself. But Sean, what I told you the other day is I have to do something. And quite honestly, I've been joining a bunch of other different dad groups. Like, Sensei, you've got a 3-year-old, right?
Yep.
Okay. Bluey is running rampant in my house right now. Okay.
Him, I want to call him him, but it's 2 girls.
Right, I thought Bluey was a boy too. So I'm sorry.
No. It's
Bluey and
Bingo and Bluey.
Right, but they're both girls. Right. I didn't.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
So I got into on Facebook. They've got a Bandits Bluey group for dads. Right.
Okay.
Huge freaking community, and I'm talking ginormous community, and it's dads only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
Check that
also
out.
recently got into one called Girl Dads, right? Because obviously I
Okay.
got a girl. You know, it
Hmm.
just kind of fit. But I've been diving deeper and deeper on dad topics, dad support groups, dad, all of this stuff. Because what better way to learn than from those who have been doing?
Hmm.
Right.
Okay, and you
Yeah.
guys are veterans in this group. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, my hat's off to you guys.
Right
Um,
on.
but you know, I've what I also told Sean is I've also got a different perspective on things.
Hmm.
You know, I my background's different than both y'all's. You know, how I was raised, how I'm raising my daughter, the environment that I'm in is completely different than what you all
Hmm.
got. So yeah, I might be a new dad, I might be a young dad, but I might have different experiences that
Hmm.
might help Sensei, might help Sean
Hmm.
with whatever they're going through. And um, the physical activity thing also that you kind of brought up, you know, twirling around things. I'm sorry, I'm ADHD as well, so I bounce back and forth. Okay,
Hmm.
but I love to go shoot guns.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, like
you know
that's
what?
I'm with you. I'm
Well,
with
you
you.
was waiting.
well,
You
well,
was
yeah.
waiting for that.
Right. So I was like, wait a minute, we're on video, so I already know what's in hands reach. I've seen what's in hands reach
Nope.
already.
No, they are all locked up.
Oh, right now. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Before,
All of them are locked up.
Gotta
And
be.
actually, I've got a very scary thing about that. Okay, no, scary good, but still scary. Okay, when I moved onto our block, back in May of 2022, about 6 months later, ambulances, fire trucks, police just down the street. I could see them from my driveway. An 18-month-old little girl got a hold of daddy's gun and accidentally
discharge.
took her own life.
Oh man.
Okay. And that scared the hell out of me.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Now, mind you, all my stuff was already still locked up at that
Hmm.
point in time. But I want to fast forward to about a month and a half ago. My wife and I were sitting on the couch. Daughter's running around doing her thing, and all of a sudden, this alarm starts going off, and she's immediately crying, and we've got no idea what's going on. I'm booking it to her room, which is my door's right here. Her room is across the hall, and all of that. And I notice she's not in there. Immediately, I whip around because I hear the crying coming from my room, and she's standing here right next to my safe. She messed with the handle, and the alarm started going off.
No.
Oh, okay.
So again, scary good,
Right.
but I know my measures work.
Right.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and that makes me feel safe. It makes me feel better. I know if she's trying to mess with something that she shouldn't be messing with,
Right.
and I'm right there.
Right.
But
Well, see,
That's good.
Sensei John, before when we'd have video calls, he'd be like, "Oh, hey, look at this shotgun," and "Oh, hey, look at
Yeah.
this pistol," and
Okay.
"Oh, hey," and I'm just like, "How many are you gonna keep pulling out?" He'd be like, "Oh, wait, hold on, wait, I got this one here, and then I got this one right here." I'm like, "Wait a minute, where'd you? Oh, wait a minute," and then I'm working on this one right here, and I'm like, "No, yeah." So this is before Baby Freya. So yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear
Yeah.
that. You know that
I've got multiple safes. I got one right next to my bed that carry two for my wife and I.
right,
Right,
Mhm.
locked.
right.
Again, it's a drawer safe, and I've got this one, and everything else that doesn't fit in that one over there is in this one.
Right. Okay,
Locked.
Good.
Mhm.
Good.
That's
Okay.
what's up. Yeah, yeah. You got to keep them babies protected, man.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know?
But
You know,
like
I'm pro gun, baby. I'm pro gun.
you
so-
was talking about how
too.
like getting that aggression out is soothing and relieving. Man, go shoot some stuffed animals. I'll tell you what. That is a whole different kind of self-soothing, all right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Shooting is always great. I'm pro gun too, and definitely. I mean, you guys are bringing up things that I didn't think about at the moment, but now yeah, that I think about going to the gun range. Outdoor, indoor, wherever it may be.
right.
want to shoot some shit is great. It's always great.
Well, I used to do archery. I don't have any pistols. I don't got any firearms.
Okay.
But I used to do archery. So.
Oh, you cultured over there, man.
Hey, I gotta get you right the first time. I don't got extra clips. You know, it's either one shot. Yeah, right. Okay.
I'll tell you.
Let's
I'll tell you. Last thing, the most soothing thing ever is hunting. Okay, whether you harvest an animal or not, but being out there in them woods by yourself before the sun comes up, watching that sun come up, listening to everything wake up, right? The nature sounds coming on around you. There is nothing like it.
Now,
man,
you know what that's that back east down south shit. All right, because I personally could get the same thing camping. I could camp and get that.
Okay.
Right, I could camp. Now the other thing, like I get it because I remember you missed the meeting because you were, because
I was gutting a deer.
Yeah,
I was gutting a deer.
Yeah. He was like, oh, we're gonna do this team meeting, whatever. And we're like, yeah, man, okay. So everybody shows up for the team meeting, and they're like, well, where's Njord at?
The one who called the meeting.
Right. And so
oh my God.
Yeah, they're texting him and they're like blah 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 blah. And then finally he like puts a blast out.
I'm like, oh, I'm this deep.
Yeah, arms deep into a deer. And I'm like, oh God, okay. So
that baby right there, huh?
Oh yes.
Yes,
wow.
sir.
So that's beyond me, bro. I'm that's gonna be an all NjordGod thing because I can't do it.
I ain't gonna lie. I've always wanted to try it.
And you know what?
Like, come to Arkansas.
I'm one of those guys that
I'll take you both. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So
I think that'd be something fun.
Okay. I've one of our coworkers, he's big into it, and he tells me, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "You should do it. You should do it." Okay. Hey, maybe put that on my bucket list, but yeah,
at least one time.
Right. It's again, like I said, whether you harvest an animal or not,
right?
Even camping doesn't beat that. Okay, it's something completely different.
Okay, all right, all right. So, final thoughts on self-care, Sensei Jon. What you got?
Before we take care of you. Yeah, take care of your brain, man. The thing in between your eyes, it can drive you crazy. Norris touched on it. I was also in a dark place at one point in my life before I sought out the help, and I was, I come home and I'd just be in my head like, oh my God, I got to keep doing this. But having the wife that I have and having the help that I have really has put me in a great place. So protect your thoughts.
Okay. Njord, what you got? Final thoughts on self-care.
My thing is don't become a statistic. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't become a statistic, whether it be your marriage, right? Because the statistic nowadays is you're more likely to get a divorce than you are to stay together. Yeah. Okay? Don't become a statistic. You're more likely to lose your child than you are to keep them. Okay? Yeah. Don't become a statistic. Men are more likely to commit suicide because they aren't getting help. Don't become a statistic. Man up and get help.
There you go.
And I like that. That's right.
And my final thoughts on it. I mean, yes, I again agreed with both you guys about all of it. And different types of self-care are different for different people. And that's okay. And surround yourself with people that make you happy, so that you could be happy longer. And this is something that we talked about in the last episode. So my dad told me, and being around gentlemen like yourself is good for my mental health. Right, to be around good, positive. I mean, we're not always it's not all about cheeky and, we're sunshine and rainbows all the time.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, but I think it's more about being around people that are real and about, yes, I was in a dark place and I got help. Yes, this does soothe me. Yes, I'm not too much of a quote unquote man that I need to just suck it up and, and move on without getting the assistance I need. there's since I follow a lot of dad stuff. Again, I've seen those statistics. I've seen what holding in and not talking about your feelings does to you yourself, and how it affects everybody around you. And I'm blessed with a wife too that is supportive of what this is, and supportive in my creative process to do not only this but the other projects I'm working on. And it's very important. And I think something that we could take away from everybody here is that self care is worth it, right? It's worth it.
Definitely is.
Yeah. So no matter what that looks like to you as a listener, you've gotten three different perspectives about what self care looks like, and I think the big message out of what our discussion was is that man up, get help, and the help that you get, and however self care looks like for you, it could be different for you, but at the end of the day, regardless of what it is, it's worth it to get, and not only for yourself,
100%.
but also for the family and the relationships that you have around you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because you don't want to end up as a statistic around here. I read an article where a man, it was actually in California, and he ended up killing his wife and his kids, his twin kids,
yeah, we don't,
just the other day. We don't want to end up like that either, to where we so psyched out, you know what I mean, to where we cause harm to our family members,
right.
you know?
Okay, so
That's big.
let's move on to our next topic. We got a little bit more time here. I know this
A
next
little bit
one's
more
gonna.
time?
Yeah, we got a little bit more time. Right now, the recording's at 122, but I didn't find out about the audio thing till about 27 in. So we're looking at a good about less than an hour as far as recording goes. So we got a little bit more time.
More time. This one's going to take a little while,
Well,
Shannon.
we might have to cut this on
Maybe.
a cliffhanger.
Maybe not.
Right.
Y'all got more than one kid. I've only got one.
Oh, yeah, you're right about
Yeah,
that.
that's true. Okay, Sensei John, take
All
it
right.
away. What we got?
All right. Is bonding with each kid differently? What? How do you bond with each kid? And before I came up with this question, or before I kind of computed this question,
Yeah, let's get a little
I
background with that. What you got?
I never even like thought about. I ain't gonna say thought about, but it didn't cross my mind to where it broke it down after the question, and I started thinking like, damn, I do. I got an older son, a daughter, of course, and then a 3-year-old. So I never really thought that bonding with them would be different, but in reality, it is. Why? Because I call him number one. He was there. I was young. Number two is my daughter. She's the only daughter I got. You know what I mean? And number three is just the sweetest little guy you ever seen. So he melts me. You know what I mean? I understand that being a dad takes work. You know what I mean? Being a husband, a dad, all of the above. And it takes work with each kid differently. You know what I mean? My oldest son, he was into different things than my daughter's into, which is the second child. We went through the, playing football or playing sports or the different thing. He's more of an intellectual, you know what I mean, type of human being. And it took me a little while to realize that, talking to his mom or whatever. I didn't ask him to play any of these sports. He asked me. And because he knew that I was interested in sports and doing stuff. But he was really good at some stuff. And, I thought he was going to continue on and, but coming to find out, bonding with him intellectually, us reading books together, us, talking about different things, Black history that he's into. He's into boxing, sports, that type of sports. Like that's something I even though I was into martial arts, I didn't realize he was so much into boxing. So as he grew older, he started taking boxing lessons with his mom and at her house. So and then skipping ahead to my daughter, I mean that right there, like you said, changed my life. It changed like how I approach things with my kids, how I approach things in life. You know what I mean? I'm a little softer not rough around the edges. I'm a little smooth. I got to be a little smoother because I always think about I always got to make it back home. You know, when I was with my son, you know what I mean? I was young, I was dumb, I was doing shit that was like, you know, like almost like I didn't care, but I did, but I was just trying to act tough. You know, you gotta have that tough dad, you know. And with my daughter, I was like, ooh, I gotta maneuver a little different. And I made sure that when I maneuvered a little different with her, or yeah, definitely maneuvered a little bit, a lot different with her in my presence about yelling or, being critical. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things I could be with my son. You know, oh, you going, and my wife really helped me with this, and I love her for this. Um, uh, with my son, oh man, you shouldn't wear that. Woo woo woo. You should wear that. Well, with my daughter, it's a little different. You got to make sure, you're a little bit not abrasive, towards of how she wants to do things or how she wants to wear things. It's more suggestive. You know what I mean? I make suggestions, instead of being abrasive and saying, oh, no, woo, woo, woo. It don't work like that with your daughters because you don't want them to grow up feeling like everything that daddy says is critical towards who they are, what they're doing, and everything. So, and then she paved the way for the little guy a lot more because now I'm even a little softer towards him. So
Right.
it's really like each of them have a different type of bond with me because it was a different time in my life with each of them, with each one. And like my daughter, she loves to talk about her schoolwork. She's very creative, so I have to open my, even though I'm doing something, or like I may be cooking or doing whatever, I have to take time out. Time I didn't take out for my oldest son because we weren't really living together in his younger years. So I'm getting them kind of years back, with these two, them type of years, and I'm really
Right.
like comprehending what I was missing. Even though he came to live with me and my wife at 10 years old, there was still a portion where I was just weekend dad. So that's a big difference in our bond. You know what I mean? And being with her from birth until today, you know what I mean? It has been like a real roller coaster. Like she sometimes she want to talk to me crazy, and I can't even get mad. Shit, and that's what I'm learning in my therapy though. Like, Doc has really been helping me, and 'cause I don't want to yell at her the way I kind of like did with my other son, and he didn't get it too much. But the bond that me and my daughter have is sacred because I don't want any man talking to her any kind of way because her daddy talked to her or treated her, talked to her or treated her any kind of. So that bond we have with that bond I have with my daughter is really like it means a lot to me. Not saying it takes away from any of the other ones. It's just a little bit. They tweaked a little bit different. You know what I mean?
Well, can
My
I can
little
I
son,
um,
yeah.
can I speak a little bit on that,
Go
if
ahead.
you mind? So I get where you're going with that, and so to kind of answer the question, I'm going to say yes. And there's so many things that like I fully agree with, like, and I can totally relate to you, right? Because our sons are the same age.
Yeah.
My middle is a boy, and my daughter is the youngest. Um,
Okay.
but I will say to kind of talk on that, how you said like you talked to your oldest, and I think as I'm realizing this, like our oldest boy is a representation of us. So
Hmm.
we want to make sure that we are, you know, If they're out in the street, they represent us. So if they f up in the street, then that reflects directly back onto us. For as far as like our
Mm-hmm.
boys go, especially the first boy. And I think you talk,
Mm-hmm.
but then when you talk about your daughter, your daughter doesn't represent you. You want to be an example of what you want
Mm-hmm.
your daughter to look for in a person. And I feel like that's the when we talk about bonding and even like relationships between the two different children, and the fact that the first son, and we talked about this in the last episode. If you guys haven't talked about it or haven't heard his story before, check out our first two episodes. Links are going to be down in the
Yeah.
comments. But when we talk about the relationship with our daughter, and then the different times that we had our kids, I want to be an example of what I want her to feel what is acceptable versus my son, where I'm going to treat him because he's going to be a direct representation of me. So I
Mm-hmm.
may be more abrasive on the boys than the
Mm-hmm.
girl because I want to make sure that they know that when they're out and about doing whatever, especially as young men, as our 19-year-olds, that I may be more stern with what I'm saying to you versus what I may be saying to the younger children or even the girl, because of the different relationship that we may have. So as I'm listening to you, those are the thoughts that came to my head, and I wouldn't want to lose
Yeah.
them before you went on to the
No.
third one. So go ahead.
No. 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 And not. Thank you for interrupting because that was perfect. That was like you put it in perspective of exactly what I wanted to say.
Okay.
So definitely a representation. You know what I mean? Because they look at us. Especially when they find their husband or whatever. They kind of wanted to represent how they were raised and who their upbringing. And that's what I'm a big believer in. So yeah, we have a different bond. Now, my little boy, like, I just look at him as like, he can't do no wrong, and it's just the cutest little thing that and I know that why because he's our last one. And I didn't realize that until having our last child and us saying, "This is it." Like all those years that you know excuse me, we dealt with him, but raised him from this little baby to 3 years old and soon to be four. It's like I'm never gonna do this again.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so the bond I have with him is different, a lot different from my first son, because the first 4 months of his life we were in COVID. So I took 4 months off of work to be here at home to be with my family. And I can tell the difference between my youngest son and my oldest son. And it's the difference from the age that they were at the time. I can't say that my oldest son don't love me any more than my youngest son. But I can at the time in their lives I can remember and my son at 3 to 4 years old, and my son at 3 or 4 years old right now, two totally different kids.
Yep.
Because of not only my daughter paving the way for this youngest one to get away whatever he want to, but him not taking the beatings the oldest one took. You know what I mean? But just the interaction. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'm gonna leave that right there because I know I'm gonna let you talk, Sean, and I'll come back to
Okay. Well, you know what? There's a couple things you already touched on, but we have a lot of similarities. So I actually want to put the
Yeah.
floor to Njord and kind of give us his experience because this is his first. He's the latest, so he would basically represent a younger version of us. So I would like to know, like, what is your take on the bonding that you have with your daughter? And I know you can't speak on having two, but I would like to see what your take is on what you thought was going to happen versus what is actually happening. And is there a difference between how you thought this would play out with the relationship with your young one?
So I think a lot of it, what it comes down to for me, is I'm trying to raise my daughter and how I want to raise my future kids, um, how I was raised, right? I had a pretty decent upbringing, but I was also raised by the military. I was born on a naval base. My entire family history is Navy and Marine Corps. I mean, I was raised by a chief. My dad was like seriously, like I was raised by the Navy. Okay. Um, and kind of the big foundational things that I was raised on were family and respect. Okay. Um, we always take care of our family. Our family's not going to end up in a home unless we physically don't have the capability to take care of them because of professional needs, right? Um, we take care of our own. Um, and respect. I mean, I can actually sit there and say, hey, my mom was not afraid to use the belt growing up, rightfully so. And I'm taller than my mom, and I'm 5'4". Okay, I'm gonna be real. I'm a short dude. Um, but the respect that I'm talking about is at 18 years old, I got into a fight. Or no, it wasn't even a fight. I mouthed back to my mom. She said, "All right, you're getting a whooping." All right. Now I could have easily. I still live in
Right.
her house, but I could have easily been like, nope,
Nope.
right. But the respect that I have for my mama, I laid down and took it, right. And I can tell you right now what I thought was I know how I want to raise my daughter, and the way things are turning out are I'm not alone in making those decisions.
Ah, that's a good point. That is a very good point. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you know
And
what? Go
Mm-hmm.
and I
and
okay.
we're
Go ahead, because
go
a
ahead.
thought just hit me in the
Ask your
head.
question
Right.
because I go ahead. Ask your question because I know where I'm going.
Well, because I was like, well, when me and Sensei John had our kids, our first kid, you know the story behind that. And again,
Oh yeah.
if the listeners don't know, they could go back and listen to that episode, right? But at the but at the same time, we weren't in the situation that you were in. So a lot of the decisions that we
Right.
made with our kids were based upon what we decided. And yes, that you are in a different position, and not only is this your
Completely
first,
different situation,
right,
right? Because
right,
I
yeah,
my
wow,
wife and I tried for 3 years for my daughter,
okay.
right? And I'm gonna be real honest with you. We've been trying for another two already.
Hey,
Um,
stop it, bro. Stop
so
it. You calm down, hot shot.
it's not working. um, but again, I'm not the only one who makes these decisions on how my daughter's going to be raised. So
Mm-hmm.
I know right
No
now
real talk.
one of the things that I'm battling with is the battle there and where to compromise. What hills do I want to die on because of my principles, my morals that I want to instill on my daughter? What is worth it for me to actually go to battle for in that versus let my wife make those decisions? Okay. And coming up with a very healthy back and forth between the two of us is a big thing, right? So I can tell you kind of again, my daughter's 2 years old, so she's got some personality, but you can't really talk to her yet. Like I don't have what you guys have yet. Okay. So I right now bonding with my daughter is like a ADHD kid on crack. I mean, she's like, "Oh, I want this. Oh, I want this. I want this. I want
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wait,
yeah, yeah.
you took that away. I don't even remember that exists anymore." Okay.
Right.
But a lot of the things that I'm seeing is be there for her, right? Like I be around. You know,
Yeah.
I know when I'm off every other Friday, and when I wake her up or on Fridays or Saturdays, the first things that she's wanting is mom. Why? Because mom takes her to school every day, takes her to daycare every morning because I'm already out of the house before she wakes up.
Right.
Okay. But I'm home every night, most nights. We were talking about how you get up at 2:30, I get up at 4. Sometimes I don't get home until 2 o'clock the next morning. You know,
Wow.
it just the nature of my job. I can't leave the job if people are still out of water. You know,
Mhm.
but thankfully that doesn't happen too often, right? Um, but that's kind of the biggest thing for me right now is how I want to raise my daughter versus how my wife wants to raise her daughter. I know a lot of the things that we've kind of been battling with are our mothers getting involved.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And both moms, right? Oh, it's okay because I've done this before. I've raised kids before. I can do this. And I'm going to be honest with you. My mom's the only one, right? Like out of the grandparents that are actually around right now, because we live in Arkansas and my father lives in Utah and her parents live in California, down in Orange County. So my mom gets to be the one that gets to be around my daughter a lot. Now, what translates though is my mom's like, "Oh, it's fine. I can give her watered down apple juice," even though we said, "Hey, we don't want we don't want our daughter having juice," right? Oh, but it's okay. Nana gets to spoil. I get what you want to do, mom, but we're the parents,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, we're laughing because we've been through this already.
Right.
Well,
Right.
you know, I love the fact that you're voicing like you again. That's what did you expect was going to happen, or what you wanted to happen, versus
I never
what's happening. And I think this
never thought we would have the issue with the grandparents,
Right.
with the grandmothers. Okay,
Yeah.
Are both of our dads, both the grandpas, are
They
chill as hell,
oh yeah,
right?
that's-
Like,
that's the
hey,
point.
we're good. You do whatever you want to do, this, that, or the other. But both the moms are sitting here like, no, 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 no. And like my mother-in-law, she went to school for child development, so like I'm not really into the new age gentle parenting. That's to me that's not tried and true. To me, I believe that kind of is what has led to the generations that we have coming up now. Some of the issues that we have of teenage kids thinking that they can talk different kinds of way to their parents and other adults and get away with it, and I am not okay with that. I'm sorry. There's a way that you talk to an adult, and I'm going to instill that in my kids.
Right.
Period. Firm believer. My daughter, when she gets old enough, should be able to come into this voice chat right here and say yes, sir, no, sir, thank you, sir, to both of you all instantly.
Right.
Okay. Why? Because you're her elder. Okay. Plain and simple. It's respect.
Right.
That's what will happen, and I will die on that hill for that. Okay.
Right. But you bring up a good point to, you do have to compromise. What again? You have to make
Yeah.
those decisions. What hill are you going to die on versus which ones are you going to compromise on? So,
Mhm.
I love you were like, oh, we have the multiple kids, and the question was based upon that. But it really is talking about the different types of
No.
relationships that we have with our children. And
Yeah.
again, I know when me and Sensei John went through it with our first kid, we had an expectation of what was going to happen. And I'm pretty sure that's boat sank. It sailed, sank, and then and that was
Hold
it.
it
But
again, too.
right,
Yeah.
right. It's back in
passed
dry
it up,
dock.
tried to make it-
Right. It's back in dry dock.
You know?
So
I will say, having a 2-year-old girl, we have, obviously, I mentioned it earlier, have very well acknowledged that she cannot be an only child. We are going to have
Definitely.
issues
right.
if she becomes an only child.
Oh yeah.
So you're in the same type of boat that me and my wife were in, even though I had my oldest son. We knew my daughter, she was yep, like me. So it was like,
Oh, this is like her mother.
Oh yeah, we're gonna need. She's gonna need somebody she can boss around.
and you know
My
what?
son,
Yeah, to kind of on that same thing, like the age gap between my oldest son and my youngest son's 11 years. So even right now, if we didn't have my daughter, he would be only lonely right now, and we didn't want that.
Right.
So yeah, we were all kind of like in that same situation, but differently. So
How long have you been married, Nord?
We just had our 5 year in September.
Okay. Good job.
Am I still the youngest married too?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I've been with my wife 11. We've been married for 10 or 11. After 7, you forget. You just know
Now-
it's somewhere around there.
And I've been 10 years this year for me.
Okay.
We can all sit here and say the woman makes the man, right? Have you heard that saying?
I've not heard that saying.
Okay, so if you've got a woman that doesn't compliment you well enough, or help you to do better, you're going to be less of a productive, established man, right? You're not going to be on that level that you should be on.
Because I'm sitting here saying my wife,
if you got a good woman, she brings out the best in you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes. Okay, I've heard that, and I can agree with that.
Yeah. For sure. That's for sure.
But the woman makes the man. Okay, that's just kind of the way I think. If you've got a great supportive woman, a man can tackle anything.
Man.
Okay.
You'd be willing to run your head into that brick wall.
That's a different, but when my wife and I were going to get married, she looked at me when I was going to go pick out rings, and she goes, "I don't want anything real. I want fake. I want a fake ring." Okay. I'm like, "What? A fake ring? What are you talking about? Like, that's not what women want." She goes, "Actually, that's what I want, because I don't want to start our our marriage off in debt. Instead, I want to earn my real ring. I want to earn it by being a great wife and a great mother." I am happy to say that for our 5-year anniversary, my wife earned and got and received her first real wedding ring.
Oh,
dope.
Yeah.
That she just got that this last Christmas.
Oh, well,
so
shit,
That's dope.
there we go. You know what I'm saying?
It's one of those things where it's like, she's pushed me to be a better man, and in these last 2 years, she's pushed me to be a better father, right? Because I didn't know what that. Let's be real, you're never ready to become a dad. You may think you are.
Yeah.
You may think that you're prepared,
I knew I wasn't ready.
but you're not ready. I'm going to tell you that right now. But my wife and I, she just today, okay, my daughter was screaming and crying over God knows what. Seriously, still no clue, right? Because she can't communicate very well, right?
That's probably the best, the part it is mostly right there.
Yeah.
Frustrated.
Right. And I was starting to lose my cool. Right. I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting upset because I can't. Right.
What do you want?
And my wife literally just looks over me and goes, "Hey, let's tap out." Okay. Instead of letting me go off a deep end in front of my child, she taps in. Lets me go recharge. What we were talking about last segment, the mental health, the all that, being a good father. I think what, even going into my next child, is making sure I've got a good established relationship with my wife, because together being a team is what makes all of this successful.
Man, yeah, right. Yeah, that's deep. And,
You're right. You went love. Woo, you went good. That's good, boy. You about to take it, man.
Well, actually, so that actually goes back to a book that I read. I'm sorry, I'm kind of hijacking some stuff, and I'm sorry about that. But
right.
So I got about a stack of parenthood books about this big. When we found out we were going to have a kid, and I read one.
I was gonna say burn those, because ain't no manual to being a parent. Right.
And this guy wrote this book, and it spoke volumes to me, especially this one section. right? And Sean, I think you actually might be able to relate to it better than almost any of us here because of your story, yours and your wife's story. But he kind of goes on saying that you and your wife, you created this child. Okay? That kid depends on you. Okay? That kid can't survive without you guys. Period. Right?
Right.
But you and your wife can survive the child. And it's a bit grim. I understand that. Okay? But in order to have a successful child, make sure your relationship is solid because your wife doesn't need you. In all reality, right? She can leave and still survive. You can leave and still survive. But your child can't survive without you. Okay? And that's one of those things that like
It's real.
hit me hard, right? Because I come from a divorced family. I know you guys do too. I lived the going back and forth across the country every other holiday, every summer for 2 months, all of that crap, and I know how bad that hit my mental state and still affects me to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That's good.
so making sure that my wife and I are good and are solid as best as we can is going to give the best chance for my daughter in the future that we can give her.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean that just all like your whole sentiment, the messaging for that. We had talked about that in the previous episode, and that was about having a strong relationship between you and your partner, significant other, before you have a child. Because it's very crucial to have that, and it's good to. Again, we had talked about in the last episode, but for you to come in third party, reading it in something that's completely, forced
Unrelated. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean that again, that solidifies our feelings about
That's
it.
some game right there, Norm.
I haven't been doing this a long time, but I'm doing it.
Right. And you know what? There's something I want to bring up that I kind of hit me a little earlier. So, Njord. So NjordGod, and the name comes from, and you want to explain that so he kind of knows the background of your name.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
No.
I work for a water department.
Right.
Okay, I used to be H2O worker
That's right.
because that used to be my name, but Njord is the Viking god of the wind, sea, and prosperity, right? And so still kind of keeping it with my water theme of what I do as a living. That's what that career kind of defines me. I've made passion with it, right? I chose Njord. Now, are you getting into what my daughter's game name is? Is that what you're getting into?
No, I just wanted to bring up your name. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because
No.
everybody has like their background. Like Sensei Jon we talked about that in the episode.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then I wanted to just kind of talk about your, where you came with the name. And then for any of the listeners that are out there, they're wondering or they're trying to figure out what Sensei Jon's saying. Like, what the fuck is he saying? And it's like, what's his name? So that Sensei Jon knows like what the background of your name is. And
So I'm really big
Yeah.
into like the Nordic mythology. Okay.
Yeah.
It really does fascinate me to all ends. Okay. And in order to incorporate like that Nordic mythology plus with what I do for a living, I chose Njord, who again, kind of if you watch the show Vikings or anything like that, sometimes I pray to Njord prior to going on a Viking or going to raid. Right when they get into the boat, so like, hey, Njord, like give us a safe journey across this ocean, right? And I'm like, okay, well, I work with water, and Njord is kind of with water and all that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
I'm getting it flat.
right.
Njord, Njord, and it actually
What
kind of
was I
falls in
saying?
perfectly.
You're right.
It falls in perfectly because in Viking mythology, Njord's daughter is Freya.
New York.
Okay. And my daughter's online name is Baby Freya.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, just to kind of throw it out there, something I remembered a little bit. We were going kind of deep, so I was like, well, let me kind of reel this back down and
Lighten it back up a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We been. Yeah.
So
Well,
you know
what
what?
you think?
You know, we're basically out of time. And that's why I didn't want to kind of go into my thing about the topic, and we could continue this in the next episode. But I want to make sure that Njord got some time on the mic to talk about his experience with the question, and again, kind of give that game time and that mic time, kind of even it out. So I'm gonna have to save what I got to say for potentially our next episode. So with the next episode again, we have a commitment to the series, and if you guys don't know, Sensei Jon is the one that's kind of directing us and kind of pushing us in the directions with the series that we're committed to right now. So Sensei Jon, what do we got planned for next episode?
Well, for next episode, we're gonna get your opinion on on your relationship with your kids.
Okay.
We already did the self-care. Work, and the next one could be next one will be work-life balance. Strategies for balancing career, responsibilities, and family life.
I'm going to need all the help there.
I'm just saying.
I will take all tips.
I know. And maybe we find out that there ain't none. Or, I might have something that might work for you, and you might have something that work for me, and we go from there. And maybe we just listen to our wives and shut the hell up. Who knows? I don't know.
I like that one.
And also memorable moments, just things that you like to share, if you like to share anything memorable with each child, or something with one child more than the other. Not saying anybody's favorite, but we can keep that one pretty light, because I know we don't want too many people, in our business and stuff like that.
Right.
But those are the topics. But I got one more thing for you.
Okay, go ahead.
We have an All-Star Weekend this weekend. Who you rolling with, East or West?
Oh, we're talking about the NBA?
NBA.
Okay. Again, you are our resident sports expert, because I am.
Yeah. I'm rolling with the West Side, which is the best side, baby. West Coast. And my Lakers in the West, so.
Okay.
I'm a Laker fan.
Okay. New York, do you follow basketball at all?
You can miss me with basketball. So I grew up wrestling, right? Like actual like Olympic wrestling,
right?
Style wrestling.
Okay.
So the problem is
Kurt Angle and all them.
Yeah, Dan Gable, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So the problem is that wrestlers and basketball players butt heads all the time,
really?
just because our dual meets, our tournaments, and all, we put the mats out on the basketball courts. Right, because they play at the same season.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I come from a family of wrestlers. My dad wrestled in England. I mean, like, my youngest brother and my dad are both coaches now. So
yeah, we're gonna have to get that backstory on that one for this show. Yeah, for sure. We definitely need that backstory.
You can miss me with the basketball, because
Right.
All right, Sean, who you got?
Well, I gotta go with the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? Even though I'm not a big, I'm not a big basketball fan. So yeah, I obviously I just got to go with the default. I'm gonna go with the West Coast on, and then it's this weekend.
It's this week. It's actually tonight. So they did a 3-point contest, slam dunk contest, and then also Steph Curry is going up against a WNBA player, Sabrina. I don't know. I can't pronounce her last name, but they're doing their own 3-point contest. So she's supposed to be one of the purest shooters over there. He is the purest shooter here in the NBA right now.
Right.
They're going to have their contest, and then tomorrow is the actual All-Star game.
Okay. So
East versus West. I'm trying to see if they're gonna score 200 points since everybody's scoring 140 points during the regular season.
Okay. The get down here is actually we are recording on a Saturday night. By the time this gets edited and put out, it'll be Monday. So the results of this will have already came out. So we'll probably touch it on the next recording. So it may seem a little later, a little delayed, but for you listeners out here, that'll be the reason why. Okay, so we're gonna talk. We'll follow that. We'll kind of see what's going on. Check in again next week. Anything new or whatever that comes up, and then we'll get right into Sensei Jon's topics. So this is the part where we do our outro. So before we do our outros, do you guys have any shout outs do you want to throw out there? I mean, I know big ups to Pops. That's what Sensei Jon did last time or whatever. So we're going to start with our special guest. First of all, I want to say, Njord, thank you for joining us. I'm excited to continue this journey together with you.
Sure,
Do you want to shout out anything? And we're not talking about socials, but do you want to shout out anything or anyone before we kind of get into our outro?
First things first, I want to shout you out, Sean. I mean, you really are a legend, an OG.
Oh, geez, here we go.
You have been my rock throughout my entire content creation journey for the last 3 years. Y'all, if you are listening to Sean and you're just now getting into the Dad's Life podcast, he's got so many more episodes for you all to go listen to that I push you guys to go listen to. Okay. But Sean, I want to shout you out because you are a legend.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I want to shout out my daughter, baby Freya. I mean, without her, I wouldn't be able to be a part of this honorable community of fathers.
Amen to that.
Amen.
And her and my wife are like the light of my world. So that's them right there.
Okay, and we let's keep it right so we can be right for ourselves and for them. So yeah, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Sensei Jon, you got anything you want to shout out?
Yeah. I didn't give this shout out last time, so shout out to my beautiful wife out there.
Okay.
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 Without her, I don't know where I'd be.
Okay.
But yeah, shout out to my wife, my family, definitely to you two beautiful people here on this wonderful podcast. Norge is very great having you here to give us a very a different perspective. My dad was also military, but I wasn't as military as you are. I see. We didn't have to travel and do the different things, but he was big on respect. But shout out to the audience too, everybody that's listening too. You know what I mean? That will come and get some of this dad advice from us wonderful dads.
All right. So I myself, first of all, want to shout out our patron. So we got Jermizzle.
Oh, our patron.
Right. Jermeezy out there. We appreciate you for coming out to the website and joining our Patreon. I will say this. We had something scheduled for you. And there was a whole debacle with audio. So we're going to get something that's special out for you and for any of the patrons that want to join. Also, shout out to Shadowpack West, shadowpackwest.com. So we create for creation's sake. We do this because we love to do it. We get together. It's a platform for us and all of our team members to either collaborate together or kind of do our own thing. But we are a group. If you like the content that you're seeing here, you want to get in contact with Sensei Jon, you want to get in contact with Njord, get in contact with myself, you can head over to the website. We'll have all of our socials there. I know I haven't talked to Sensei Jon about joining, but I think I'm just gonna go ahead and just make him join so that he could have so he could just have his information on there. But you could go there, you could check us all out there. And then of course on the website, if you like what you see, you like what you're listening to, you can support us, you can join our Patreon there. Again, the benefits are listed on the page. So without further ado, again, thank you for your patronage, and thank you just for listening. If you just hitting the play button, share it to somebody, and that'll be more than enough, and we'll be so grateful for that. But if they have any questions, comments, or emotional outbursts for you, Sensei Jon, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and what is that? X at Sensei Jon, Sensei_Jon on Instagram and Twitter or X.
Okay. So did we get that thing resolved with the whole X thing?
I don't know. No, but
Is it Sensei Jon 33 or is it just Sensei Jon now?
oh, I gotta redo that. You're right.
Okay. So you can find him on Instagram. But we'll make sure
You can find me at Sensei Jon underscore or Sensei_Jon33 on Instagram and X.
Okay. If they have any questions, comments, or emotional outbursts for you, Njord, where can they find you?
Man, right now I kind of got rid of most of my socials, but I still have my X. You can find it at NjordGod. NJ, N is in November, JORDGOD.
Okay. And if you have any questions, comments, or emotional outbursts for me, you can find me Sean Flac, Sean_Flac, Sean Flac 2.0 on all the major socials. That'll include Instagram, X, Facebook. Shoot, I'm even on Mastodon. I'm on Mastodon and Tumblr.
What the hell?
Right.
What's Mastodon? We're gonna have to talk after the show.
But again, I want to say thank you everybody for listening to the episode. Go ahead and like, subscribe, share if you're on YouTube. If you're finding it on the podcast, the actual Spotify for podcasters. Again, if anything, we would love for you just to kind of give us some good feedback. Leave any kind of comments in the comment section below. If you have any questions for us, you have our socials. And until the next episode, we'll see you in the next one, right? So, peace out.